All right, Shalom. I want to start off as always by giving all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rechah HaKodash. Daban is unto the apostles, the elders, and the bishops of Great Millstone. I want to send much love unto the brothers out there doing this work in truth and sincerity. And I also want to send peace and blessings unto the believers of the hopeful elect. And in this lesson, I have two videos here pulled up, which are both about 15 minutes long. So these are the only two videos that I'm going to go into tonight. But they're very informative about Bible prophecy. And this is why we're here, okay? This first video was put up by Kim Iverson. And as you can see, the title of the video says, "The Federal Reserve is about to control the whole world." And we know that this video, obviously, is going to be about the MOTB and the system that this devil is going to establish in the earth here very soon. Second video here is from Breaking Points, excuse me. It says, Bibi, which is Benjamin Netanyahu, this guy here, all right, this small hat devil, right? It says, Bibi mask off on Greater Israel conquest. And in this video, it's going to pretty much highlight that these devils are pretty much trying to fulfill the blessing and the promise of the scriptures, okay? The blessing that the Most High gave unto Abraham when you read Genesis the 15th chapter, in which I get that. But these devils are trying to get that blessing by way of the sword, by way of wickedness, okay? They think that they're the Israelites, or at least trying to replace us, trying to show the world that they are the true Israel. These are Edomites, okay? They're very sick people, and in due time, their cup of judgment will come. So let's deal with the first video here with Kim Iverson, and Lord willing, is edifying. Make sure my video is good here, audio is good. All right. Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Yahweh, Shema, Shai, Barakatah, Barakatham. Brothers and sisters out there who may be tuning in or possibly come across this video. All right. So here we go.
What is the difference exactly between a CBDC and a stablecoin? It sounds to me like it's the same thing, but I'm not a Bitcoin expert. So, I'm not a crypto expert. So what exactly is the difference?
Well, the difference is really just that the liability, so the underlying reserve for we've established a stable coin is a one-to-one peg. So there's like a digital twin, digital representation on a blockchain of a tokenized thing that you trade, but it's representing something, held in the real world.
Sure.
So I think the gold one is kind of more easy to visualize, right? It's like I'm trading a gold token, but somewhere there's a vault that has an ounce of gold in it that's pegged directly to that token. So that token can move around all day and be traded, but that gold bullion stays in the vault, and that's the reserve.
It's tied to that. So if somebody wanted to cash it out and get their gold bullion, they'd be able to do that because it's like that. Yeah, okay, we ship it to you.
Exactly. And so stable coins are the same. There's $1 in a bank account somewhere, or a a cash note in a vault, or more likely now because of the Genius Act requiring certain backing, there's a treasury that are the reserves printed by the U.S. government that's held by a private bank that's represented one-to-one on a blockchain. So a CBDC would just be that liability and that issuance is done by a federal cutout. So it would be by the Fed, held at the Treasury. It would be a central bank. Or not looking at U.S. stuff, the Central Bank of Kenya, would have, their CBDC, and it would be held by the governing body, the liability held by the governing body of whichever central bank around the world is issuing their CBDC. So a stable coin is just, the issuance of the.
It just sounds like it's a privatized.
It's CBDC. A PBDC, a private bank digital currency, versus a central bank digital currency.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, right.
Doesn't matter. Okay, doesn't matter. Who's pushing stable coins? The government is pushing it. And if they're pushing it, It's the same damn thing. They can give it a different name or have a different meaning to it. It's the same damn thing, man. All right. Once you accept this digital currency, you're pretty much giving total control to the government, to these banks, to track and trace your every movement, giving them the power to freeze out your account or to take out money, pretty much get you to submit and obey to their demands, right? This is going to change society, bro. All right. And how we view money, how we use money. This is going to be weird. Okay. But these are the stepping stones to the MOTB. So be on the lookout for this, man. Okay. Brother, hey, look, it's going to hit very soon. They keep saying 2030. All right. They want all this stuff to be pretty much implemented in society by then. We're halfway through 2025, so-called. It's coming, all right. but there's no difference between the CBDC and the stable coin. It's the same thing, bro, right?
Well, that seems problematic. I mean, just I guess if I had to choose, I would prefer the central bank digital currency. I would just think that the government would have less. I mean, if I had to choose, I think that the government would maybe have less ability to, because one of the problems with private industry is they can do whatever they want. And the excuse is always, well, they're a private company. They can do whatever they want.
I'm throwing a party.
This is going to be my biggest book ever.
No, not like that.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, it's really tricky because obviously, I think with good reason, a lot of us have developed some trust issues with these people that have abused our trust and abused,
right.
Public office to either line their pockets with contracts and insider trading and all that, or just, the gross overstep that we saw, not to keep bringing up COVID, but it's so important to, the digitalization of money was like accelerated times 1,000 because of COVID, and it was done by design, not COVID done by design. I don't want to get you demonetized, and I'm not even sure if I believe that, but I mean, the acceleration was designed.
Right.
Hey, we don't want to touch bills. They're gross. They're nasty. Let's not use cash. Let's use digital money. So we're in that paradigm. It's already happened. And to be frank, the dollar's been digital for a long time.
Right.
But stable coins really come up as this new way to ensure surveillability, programmability, seizability via public sector cutouts that are beholden to public sector legislation and pressures. It is sort of the worst of both worlds. So I'm not here to advocate for CBDCs. I'm not here to advocate for anything. I think finances are a personal choice, and you have to really choose what's best for you and your family. But the important thing here is to just learn about something that's going to happen and is going to affect, honestly, in my opinion, everybody on the earth, specifically as it relates to the digitalization of our financial system.
Right.
It's a global thing. And also,
yeah, it's gonna be a global thing, just as the prophecy tell us. Okay, this is no secret, man. This is gonna be a global thing. Everybody's gonna be under one financial system. Now, different countries are gonna have, certain ways on how they do things, but it's gonna be the same thing everywhere. Okay. Once America goes completely digital, everybody else gonna have to go digital too, ultimately, right? But it's gonna be a global thing. And he spoke about the surveillance, the tracking and the tracing of these digital currencies, man. This is gonna be very weird, right? But it has to come, all right? And we'll, also have the chance of using these digital currencies. Our stopping point is going to be when they demand that you put it in your body. That's when we say hell no, or to hell with you, right? But as far as these digital currencies, yes, we can use those, right? So here we go.
Specifically, the stablecoin play is very interesting because, it's being pushed by our government, specifically as a way to keep dollar reserve currency status as the world reserve currency. And the way that it really does that is, it uses technology So, Peter Thiel, our old friend that, gets talked about now all the time, co-founder of PayPal, which developed an anti-fraud algorithm that then became Palantir, which is now very buddy-buddy with this current administration. Thiel has been there from the beginning of the stablecoin industry. And in fact, the founder of Tether, Brock Pierce, who is a very controversial figure who was featured pretty prominently in the Open Secret documentary about a pedophile ring in Los Angeles called the Digital Entertainment Network. He's an old Disney star, child star. And he founded Tether. And he had spent years on the PayPal advisory board. And was their biggest customer for years at the start of PayPal. He helped them develop their credit card payment processing, and he had worked with Steve Bannon, who's obviously a big Trump advisor, and they were working on digital goods. So, back in the day of World of Warcraft and massively multiplayer online, these RPG games, they were developing an economic system for virtual goods well before Bitcoin had even come out. Really tied directly to PayPal and to Peter Thiel and to this founding group. He ran a gaming fund with Clearstone Ventures. Clearstone is a spinoff of Idea Labs, which was a think tank in Los Angeles that was the first institutional investor of PayPal. They were the ones that gave them their money to start. And one of the co-founders of it, Bill Elkis, was a trustee of the J. Epstein Foundation, which is very interesting. Brock Pierce is an Epstein affiliate as well. Obviously, we know Thiel is. It's come out recently that Thiel actually was given money by Epstein to invest through Valor Ventures, which he actually invested in a stablecoin company with Yellow Card. But regardless, this guy, Brock Pierce, he has all these connections to the intelligence community via Peter Thiel and Palantir, and they really started this digital revolution. That's really what PayPal was. People like to talk about the PayPal mafia. David Sachs is now in the government, the extended Elon Musk, all this, but everyone kind of forgets PayPal, right? No one really talks about PayPal, but they dollarized the internet. They made the dollar the unit of account on eBay. They really were the first ones to make it. When you did a transaction on the internet, you were using dollars. Yeah. And that's how you keep dollar reserve status, is you have as many users of the dollar as possible. So PayPal really understood that. There's actually a great book by an early marketing executive at PayPal called The PayPal Wars. And he talks about how Thiel did the speech at the very beginning of PayPal when there was 30 employees. And he says how, PayPal is going to offer this service to the world where all of these people that are basically enslaved by their central banks and the mismanagement of their local currencies, because of technology, will be able to have access to dollars and will be able to get out from under the slavery of their central banks. In Argentina, in Central America, South America, Global South, they'll be able to get out of the tyranny of central banks and get beautiful, beautiful dollars, and be able to get out of central bank tyranny. And PayPal will be the technology that will allow them to do that. Now, he's absolutely right that there is central bank tyranny. Of course, I mean, it's not a fun thing to live under the tyranny of a central bank. That's true. But what does that actually mean? What's the second order effects of that type of system? It centralizes the US central bank to be the central bank of the world, where which it is in many ways already, but if you use technology to eliminate the ability for a central bank and a local government to keep capital within the peso, the yuan, the yen, and all of a sudden your citizens can download an app, use a smartphone, and take their money that they normally save in yen or whatever local currency, and now they get access to the dollar. Yes, it's true that stable coins and this technology will destroy central banking, but it will destroy 189 of the 190, and the one left, it's going to be the Central Bank of the United States, which is the Federal Reserve System, which I think at this point it's pretty fair to say that the United States government doesn't always have the best interests of its own citizens or of the world's citizens, certainly. And when we give that concentrated power sold as an altruistic good to the world, but it's really creating this centralizing 8 billion people are now able to get access to the dollar, and the access to the dollar has all of these concerns we just expressed that a CBDC would have: the programmability, surveillability, seizability. Now that total addressable market is everybody in the world. Yeah. I mean, how could that be more dystopian with warrantless surveillance, seizability, all of these things? I empathize and sympathize with the people that want to get out of their local currency that is hyperinflating. I mean, of course, I'm not a monster. I understand. But what's the second order effect of everybody fleeing their capital, their local currency, and moving into the dollar? It's more
the beast. You're feeding the beast and making him bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly what John said. Exactly what John said. Everybody gonna be a part of this thing, man. And we're going to keep on reading it, all right? I'm going to keep on reading it. I can't help myself. They don't understand that they're speaking Bible prophecy. Now, some people know about, the MOTB scripture, right? Some people understand it a little bit, but they don't know who the beast is, okay? They think the beast is the Antichrist. He's somewhere with horns in his head, right? A pitchfork, a red tail, okay? He's somewhere chilling in a castle, some bugged out stuff. Esau, okay? These devils, man. They're the ones who are orchestrating this thing for the Most High, okay? Because this is the Most High stuff. He's just using Esau to do it, right? On the left-hand side. But the scripture says here, Revelation 13:15, GNT Bible, the second beast was allowed to breathe life into the image of the first beast. And if you ask a Christian to break that down, they have no clue about the second beast. I mean, they have no clue, okay? It says, so that the image could talk and put to death all those who would not worship it. The image of the beast is not talking about the picture of Jesus Christ, okay? This is not the image of the beast. That's a false doctrine, okay? It's a part of Esau's image or the beast's image, but this is not solely the image of the beast, okay? It's the system that is the image, man. Not the picture of Jesus, so-called Jesus Christ, okay? I don't know who the hell this is, right? There's some cracker that they made up. Who is this nigga, okay? But, it just say so-called Jesus Christ, right? Who the hell is this? Some damn pedophile from a damn trailer park. That's what this is. A pedophile from a damn trailer park, right? Incest, baby. This is not the image of the beast, bro. But anyway, verse 16 says, the beast forced all the people, small and great, rich and poor, slave and free, to have a mark placed on their right hands or on their foreheads. Okay? That mark, as we should know, will be that chip that will be put in your body, in your right hand. It could be your left hand or in your head. We see Esau openly pushing brain chips in the news, like openly just pushing it, okay? Elon talks about having more and more patients coming in, and eventually thousands of people having a neural link in their heads. And Elon talks about how they will have super intelligence, super power to become superhuman, to have access to all the information in the world, and they can alter their reality, as he said. He said, if you want to make your reality infrared, you can do that through Neuralink, or if you want to, whatever. Okay, this is what he's promising to the world. That sounds cool and attractive, right? And these idiots are going to go get that. And I always bring up what Klaus Schwab said back in 2017. He said 10 years from now, meaning from 2017, he says 10 years from now, you all will have brain implants. And I will be able to read your chips to see how you really feel or what you think. He openly said this to the crowd, and they're just sitting there like zombies. I would have got him and I would have got him walked out that hole like, nah, yeah, this nigga talking crazy. But this is a real thing, okay? It says, verse 17, no one could buy or sell without this mark. So clearly, the mark is tied to you buying and selling, right? Commerce, doing things, right? If you don't have that mark here in the near future, you will not have access to go to HEB or the Kroger's, to Randall's, to whatever spot, Joe V's, okay, Trader Joe's, mom and pops, nowhere. Now, with the central bank digital currencies or the stable coins, yes, we can still buy and sell with that, right? But even with having that, it's going to be certain restrictions, okay? Because they can program your money to only buy the items that they see fit for you to eat and, or consume, right? Your money could be programmed to only buy some processed Beyond Meat. Or maybe you can go buy some cricket powder or, some weird GMO stuff Esau done cooked up in a laboratory, right? Some 3D print meat. It's crazy. But they're going to have that power, right? If you owe back taxes or child support, whatever it may be, they're going to take your money, okay? That money can expire. It's going to be weird, man. But when it comes to the point where they say, hey, this got to go in your body, okay? Because people can lose their cell phones, right? People can hack your cell phone and, or steal your stable coins or whatever it may be, or CBDCs. But this CHIP, they're going to say, hey, put it in your body. And when it gets to that point, that's when we say, hell no. And ultimately put our faith in the Lord, as we should be doing right now, but especially in that time to where our livelihoods will be at stake, right? So it says, no one could buy or sell without this mark, that is the beast's name or the number that stands for the name. So this is where we're headed, man. All right, full throttle. There's no turning back, right? The things that he's talking about here, this is happening in real time. As the world is focusing on the Breezy Bowl or Drake and Kendrick Lamar, whatever, whatever they, talk about in the world, they have no clue that society is about to change drastically, okay? This is about to get real. So here we go.
Absolutely. It's disturbing, the second order effects of it, because, they already have so much control. The U.S. government is already, they use economic sanctions really as one of their, we don't really
main tools of war, really.
Yeah, exactly. Like we don't really fight that many hot wars that much. I mean, it's drone warfare, technology warfare.
No, you can control the money. You control everything.
Exactly.
And that's so the U.S. is. I mean, I wonder if when Peter Thiel made that speech and was like, we're going to convert everybody over to the U.S. dollar, essentially, I wonder if he realized at that time what kind of power it would give him specifically and the PayPal mafia. I mean, people underestimate their power. And people always want to say who runs the world, and they want to blame it on the Jews or the Rockefellers or like all these people. It's like, or maybe it's the PayPal mafia. Whoever's in charge of the money is in charge of the world. I mean, that's And if you're the company that is really, and for a long time it's been oil, right? We've seen how many wars have been fought over oil because of the petrodollar, needing to prop up the dollar using oil, making sure that
Peter Thiel is not a part of the banking families. Okay, he's a puppet. He's a demon. Okay. Every time you hear the name Peter Thiel, think about a demon, because that's what Peter Thiel is. All right. Actually, that guy, he's a mentor for Sam Altman, right? The guy who's in charge of OpenAI. Sam Altman, that demon, he was taught by Peter Thiel, man. All these devils are connected, right? This guy here, what's his name? Larry Ellison. He's another demon, Okay, these people are rotten, but they're all intertwined, man. They all under the same banner of being Satan. Okay, but yes, Peter Thiel, look, that nigga is a demon, bro. He got his hands in a bunch of stuff, and he has an overlord. Okay, it's the top elite. He's a so-called elite person, right? He's a billionaire, a multi-billionaire. But when it comes to the top of the echelons of Esau's, power, he's not there. Okay, it is the Rockefellers and these other top banking families, man. So here we go.
That stays, being traded in dollars. But behind the scenes, there was this other thing going on technologically, right?
Absolutely.
Now the whole world runs on dollars thanks to PayPal and maybe some others. But that then created a group of people who are, you can't piss those people off. I mean, if you're the government, you have to do, those people are now, they're the new oil. They're propping up your currency.
You couldn't have nailed it any better, because that is exactly the thesis of my book, The Bitcoin Dollar, which is that Bitcoin has been silently replacing oil and petrol as the petrol half of the petrodollar. It's now the Bitcoin dollar. And you're absolutely right. It's the infrastructure barons, the oilmen, they run the world, and the people that run the dollars that are behind the petrodollar, they really do run the world. And it's not a conspiracy in a negative way. I mean, it's just literally
true.
What it is.
It is what it is.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete.
Exactly. And you even look at the foundation of the Federal Reserve. Who was it? Who were the people? Yeah, they were bankers, but they were the infrastructure barons. They were the oilmen and the steelmen. They were the people that held the real world value, the things that made America great. Right. They were those guys. And then they all formed together, and they're like, hey, how can we consolidate, our legacies even more? How can Rockefeller and Carnegie and all these people and steel and the oil guys, how can we all come together and make this monopoly consolidate and last? Well, let's make a central bank. And, let's use our powers of, we hold the oil and the steel and the weapons, and now we hold the dollars. I mean, that consolidated power significantly. We're seeing that now again with the crypto barons. That's a fun phrase. That's sort of what the PayPal mafia, really are. And you can see that. Wow, it's really interesting.
All right, man, that's enough of this video. You get the point. Okay, they're close. All right, we see what's going on. Only a matter of time for this thing hit. And the last clip here, I'll close it after this, from Breaking Points. BB mask off on Greater Israel Conquest. Right now, as I said, these small hats are trying to fulfill this blessing here. Okay, of what the Lord promised unto Abraham for his obedience, right? So Genesis 15:18, it says, then and there the Lord made a covenant with Abram. He said, I promise to give your descendants all this land from the border of Egypt to the Euphrates River, including the lands of the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaim, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. So all that land, right? And you go here to the Greater Israel Project. Look at it. Look at it. It don't even want to come up. Uh-oh. Well, yeah. So this is a good picture here. That's a good picture there. Okay. This is what these small hats are trying to accomplish. All the bloodshed you see on TV, all the wickedness you see of them bombing the people in Gaza, they're trying to fulfill this. So if you're in their way, right, then you're, in their minds, you're stopping them from, from fulfilling their destiny, right, of their promised land. These small hats are crazy, man. They open up our scriptures, took on our identity, and say, oh yeah, you see, these blessings for us. That's for the true Israelites, not you Edomites, man. Their promise wasn't promised to the Edomites. But this is what these devils are trying to fulfill. So when you see the Greater Israel project being spoke about, this is what it's talking about. Them trying to get the blessing that the Lord promised unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So here we go.
Throw this up on the screen, a little update about some of the full mask off that the Israelis are going on at this point. So Netanyahu says he is on a historic and spiritual.
See that? Netanyahu says he's on a historic and spiritual mission, also feels a connection to vision of Greater Israel. So he's determined, right, with the help of Babylon the Great, to fulfill this. All right. These devils gonna get themselves destroyed, trying to take on a blessing that wasn't for them. All right, here we go.
Spiritual mission, and that he feels a connection to the vision of Greater Israel. Let me go ahead and read this specifically. He was asked if he feels a connection to that vision of Greater Israel. Netanyahu says, quote, very much. That question about a Greater Israel, after he asked the premier if he feels he's on a mission on behalf of the Jewish people, Netanyahu answers he's on a mission of generations. There are generations of Jews that dreamt of coming here and generations of Jews who will come after us. So if you're asking if I have a sense of mission, historically and spiritually, the answer is yes. And this has been a pretty consistent theme here, Sagar, that like from the beginning, if you'd listen to either the most hyperbolic leftist or the most psychotic settlers, you would have a much better understanding. Yeah. Certainly don't listen to the Western press. Certainly don't listen to the US politicians who just pretend they have no idea what's going on, even as you have words directly out of the mouths of the prime minister, the minister of defense, like the, Smotrich, Ben-Gvir, the members of his coalition, etc. They just pretend they don't hear or see any of that. But at this point in time, Netanyahu is feeling so emboldened, thanks to a combination of Biden and now Trump, enabling every atrocity and allowing him to do literally whatever he wants, apparently, that he is just out and out saying, yeah, Greater Israel, I'm into that. Just so people, if they don't know. Now, in fairness, there are apparently different conceptions of what quote unquote Greater Israel might mean. Some of them mean just from the river to the sea, you might say, including quote unquote Judea and Samaria, in the Israeli, which is the West Bank, in with Israel and the Gaza Strip. But there is a more expansive vision as well. We can put this map up on the screen that looks like this. Includes Egypt, includes part of Egypt, part of Saudi Arabia, part of Iraq, part of Syria, all of Jordan, Sinai Peninsula, of course, all of Israel plus the West Bank plus Gaza. So, just putting it out there that this is a potential vision, and certainly the actions that Israel has taken, given that they have been bombing almost all of these countries over the past couple of years, again, with our support and arming them, makes it much less preposterous than it felt at one point. We can put this up on the screen. C3, Saudi Arabia, very unhappy with these comments from Prime Minister Netanyahu. Foreign Ministry expressing the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's condemnation in the strongest terms possible of the statements made by the Prime Minister of the Israeli occupation government regarding the so-called vision of Greater Israel, and expresses its outright rejection of the settlement and expansionist plans adopted by the Israeli occupation authority. So, Sagar, what did you make of these comments?
Well, the Saudi Arabian ones are interesting because the entire theory is the Abraham Accords and all of that. But the whole point around Greater Israel is just the ideological vision and divorcing it from the things that they say, as in like, look, we're just about dismantling Hamas. We're just about occupying Gaza. We're not going to stay there. We promise, even though we said that there was going to be an indefinite presence. I mean, the reason why KSA is so upset about the map is because, did you see the map that we put up?
Yeah,
like it's half
of Saudi
their
Arabia
country
yeah.
in it. And the reason why you are forced to take it seriously is because of the actions of the Israeli government under Netanyahu. If it was just Gaza, Gaza, it would be part of the Greater Israel Project. But you have to contextualize it with the current treatment of the West Bank, of the two-tier system of justice, of the indefinite presence in Lebanon, of the indefinite presence in Syria, of the overthrowing of the Syrian government, and then basically trying to establish a Druze-Israeli free zone inside of a country outside of the Golan Heights of the 67, recognized borders, right? So like all of these things point to an expansionist rogue power. And we're going to get to a little bit later on in the show about the potential war with Iran, but it all fits together as part of something which is just destabilization, regime change everywhere else in order to serve this smaller nation, which could never do any of this without the backstop of the United States of America.
Yeah.
That's really the point.
They recognize the historic moment that they're in where support for Israel is plummeting off a cliff. I mean, we're the only country that really matters to them.
Correct.
And support for them is plummeting off a cliff. They've already lost the Democratic Party. It's gone. I don't think you're going to get a 2028 Democratic nominee who holds the same positions that Joe Biden and Obama and every other, bipartisan politician has on Israel in modern history. I don't think you're going to get that in 2020. And I don't think it's going to be possible. And certainly the Democratic base is disgusted and horrified by what our tax dollars have done. And on the Republican side, as we've discussed, you have a younger generation that thinks very differently. I think they know that. And so that's why they are really going for it, trying to secure this greater Israel vision, abandoning the pretext that this, just think of how preposterous it is at this point to pretend like, oh, this is all just in self-defense and we're doing these limited targeted strikes against Hamas. And this is just all about going after the bad guys who got us on October 7th. Utterly and completely preposterous when you consider the number of countries that they're bombing, the territory that they've annexed, the actions in the West Bank, that we're going to talk a little bit more about that Jasper Nathaniel has been highlighting. The West Bank annexation is all but complete. And this is all in quote unquote self-defense for October 7th. You'd have to be a fool to believe that at this point, or a liar, which, there are many of those as well. Just to take it back to what the settlers have been saying, because they've long been pushing this biblical vision, quote unquote, of greater Israel. Let's go ahead and take a listen to Daniela Weiss explaining why this is central to her conception and her ideological goals.
How big is that land? Because
it's very big. No, this is the promise of God to the patriarchs of the Jewish nation. It's 3,000 kilometers. It's almost as big as the Sahara Desert.
So this is the biblical Israel.
Yes.
Can I call it this? Yeah. So and this is so which countries are these?
And which country? Don't mention. I think it's Iraq.
Iraq.
And Syria.
So you believe?
And part of Saudi Arabia. This is a holy place. It's a place.
She's right. She's right. And what she's saying, all of that, is pretty much what's known as a Fertile Crescent. Okay? If you you know what? Let's go here to Google and fertile Fertile Crescent. That's a Fertile Crescent, right? This is where, after the flood, pretty much life, started to expand here. Abraham was over here, Abraham and, his father's fathers, right? It was all here in the Fertile Crescent. Then, they moved here all the way down. People went into Egypt and other places, but this here known as the Fertile Crescent, man. All right. And the Lord promised us from the Nile River all the way to Euphrates, it stretches all the way down. Okay, Euphrates stretches all the way down. So everywhere that river stretches, that's going to be our territory. So that picture that she's holding is a good visual. Okay, but that's not for them. That's the issue. It's not for them, okay? They're trying to take on a blessing that's not for them, bro. Here we go.
One part of the universe that was chosen by God. It's a kind of a stage for the Jewish nation to express the ideals the ideas and ideals of the Jewish nation.
So there you go. She's very large. She lays down for you. It's Iraq, it's Syria, it's part of Saudi Arabia. This is God's promise to us. This is also why like theocracies are really bad. Because if you believe that your religion justifies a genocide, rogue wars against all your neighbors, this incredibly, expansionist, aggressive foreign policy, if you believe that, and, obviously Netanyahu is sort of embracing that, even though himself, he's like more of a secular figure, but he's allied with these hardcore religious figures and, who have absolutely psychotic ideas about what the state should be and what they should do to effectuate it. You end up with absolute horror, which is exactly what we have.
And it fits actually with this next piece. Put it up there on the screen. This is very significant. And inside of Israel, it's actually getting a lot of play. So after a 20-year freeze, the finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, has approved the construction of new housing units in an area where the development has been blocked. The reason why even these psycho settler movements and others have not allowed settlers to go and be there is because doing so would, quote, effectively block the establishment of a Palestinian state due to its strategic position, separating areas south of Jerusalem from those to its north. And actually, they followed it up this morning, Smotrich, in a press conference in the country where he said, by doing this, we, quote, bury the idea of a Palestinian state. Just, again, to understand exactly why all this is happening. And even in the Israeli press, here's what they say. To understand the significance, we have to go back to 1948. During the War of Independence, the Arab militias placed a siege on Jerusalem. After they broke the siege, the holiest site has now been under Jordanian occupation until the IDF liberated it in 1967. This siege left a stain on the consciousness of Israeli leadership, but they've kept it open for the potential establishment of a Palestinian state. So now, by greenlighting, yes, even this small settlement of 3,400 people, the strategic location of it is a signal to the Palestinians, to the Arab states, to the Jordanians and others. It's not happening. Yep. And it's also meant as a counter-diplomatic signal to all of the Western countries, which are talking about recognizing Palestinian statehood. You can't recognize statehood if it doesn't exist in any sort of conception.
Yeah, that's what people say. Is like, okay, point to me on the map where the Palestinian state is, because this is, this is an extraordinarily provocative and I think significant development in terms of blocking any future Palestinian state. And Smotrich, again, he comes out and says it. Yeah, this isn't us just like theorizing or making it up. They put it out there and make it plain what is going on here. And this is what Jasper Nathaniel wrote about in that piece that we interviewed him about. He actually talked about this specific development and how consequential it was in terms of blocking the possibility of a Palestinian state. So this is what's going on. This is why annexation of the West Bank is de facto complete, because the Israelis have, in real life, like in what's actually happening on the ground right now, they have complete control over everybody's life who lives in the West Bank. They are living under Israeli government rule. And it is truly, any thought that this wasn't an apartheid system goes out the window when you realize that, yes, the Palestinians who live in the West Bank are fully under Israeli government control. And we know that they don't have any rights whatsoever. We know the settlers are encouraged to go and murder them. And then, the settlers get off scot-free and are just sent more, sometimes American-made weapons. So that's the reality of what's happening in the West Bank. And just to, again, tie it in here, because it's not only the religious extremist terrorists running Israel that are a problem and part of what has created such an insane situation. You also have some, plenty of religion being invoked to justify our continued endless support of Israel here in the U.S. as well. Let's go ahead and take a listen to Lindsey Graham.
I am tired of the word genocide. Let me tell you about genocide. If Israel wanted to commit genocide, they could. They have the capability to do that. They choose not to. To people in my party, I'm tired of this crap. Israel is our friend. They're the most reliable friend we have in the Mideast. They're a democracy. It's not a hard choice if you're a Christian. A word of warning. If America pulls the plug on Israel, God will pull the plug on us. Israel is not the bad guy. They're the good guy. The bad guys are the radical Islamists who would kill everybody in this room if they could. So I haven't lost my vision of right and wrong. When it comes to foreign policy, President Trump has stood up for all the right things, and he stood up against wrong things.
Yes, the government that is starving babies.
A demon. Lindsey Graham is a demon, okay? These people are sick, man. Esau is a sick nigga, boy. This is why the book of Obadiah is written. They gotta go, man, okay? He's trying to justify the bloodshed over in the land. All right. They saying Ishmael the problem. Ishmael ain't doing nothing to nobody. Ishmael eating camel meat. Ishmael not about Ishmael trying to fight Esau off. The nigga over there killing him. Esau killer. He trying to fight you off, nigga. Esau, man. As you see here, it says Ezekiel 35, God's punishment of Edom. This is where we're heading to, man. Some greater Israel project. Boy, you finna get a foot put in your you know what. Ezekiel 35 and 10 GNT Bible. You said that the two nations, Judah and Israel, together with their lands, belong to you, and that you will possess them, even though I, the Lord, was their God. Listen to what that's saying, man. Esau saying Judah and Israel belongs to me. I own you niggas, and I own your land. This is how Esau feels, and you're not going to change his mind. Esau feels that he owns you, okay? And he got the land, right? As it says that we will possess them. This is what's going on. And we saw in the video, right? We saw their a greater Israel plan project thing. We saw it right there. They're trying to fulfill that, okay? Esau not messing around, bro. He real deal wants to do it. And they're going to have to wipe out Saudi Arabia, okay? All that to get this blessing, right? He's going to lose. It says, verse 11, so then, as surely as I, the sovereign Lord, am the living God, I will pay you back for your anger, jealousy, excuse me. I will pay you back for your anger, your jealousy, and your hate toward my people. Jake is dealing with this right now, bro. Esau hates Jake. He's jealous of Jake, right? He's angry toward Jake. I mean, every time he mentions Jake is in a negative light. Doesn't matter if Jake is a Christian. Doesn't matter if Jake is a so-called Republican. It don't matter. Esau don't care about you being a Christian, nigga. This is what we're trying to express to you. You can go lick Esau boots. He's still gonna call you a nigga. He still hates your guts. You can bend over backwards. It don't matter to Esau. He is designed to hate you, man. Just how the sun is designed to shine and give heat to the earth, right? Esau is designed to hate us. He can't do nothing else. He was made to do that. So he's going to do that until we wipe his ass out. Point blank, period. It says, they will know that I am punishing you for what you did to them. So the Most High gonna get this nigga, bro. He's gonna get this nigga. And we're gonna see it and we're gonna rejoice. It says, then you will know that I, the Lord, heard you say with contempt that the mountains of Israel were desolate and that they were yours to devour. I have heard the wild, boastful way you talk against me. And Esau talk wild and boastful. I mean, Esau is a proud devil. Proud. I mean, he's ugly and pink, but he's a proud devil. He got skin cancer, you know. Teeth yellow. He smell like garlic, but he's a proud devil. He's proud against the Most High, bro. Not only Israel, like Jake, but he's proud against the Most High. Everything he do is to show the Most High that he's somebody, right? That's how crazy Esau is, man. And people don't understand that he's a crazy man. Esau is a crazy person, bro. Like, The word psychopath don't describe Esau. He's worse than that. Okay? He's a really, really sick person, man. This is the best way that, that I can put it. He's fighting against the Most High, so-called. It says, the sovereign Lord says, I will make you so desolate that the whole world will rejoice at your downfall. Oh my goodness. Hey, bro, the Most High talking to this nigga, bro. he said, hey, look, you know how you talk to a nigga, bro? You said, nigga, look, I'm gonna whoop your ass so bad, nigga. I'm gonna whoop your ass so bad, boy. Right? That niggas gonna be talking about you bad after I get done whooping on you. Everybody gonna be looking like, oh my God. This how the Most High talking to Esau. In so many words, he's saying, nigga, I'm gonna kick your ass so bad, right? Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence, I'm finna whoop you so bad, boy. You just don't know. And then, hey, look, hey, it's gonna be quick too. It's gonna be a quick ass whooping, right? Then Esau going into slavery. So the Lord said, once Esau falls, he said the world will rejoice. My question to you Christians is this: when will the world rejoice? That's going to be in the kingdom. So obviously the Edomites are still here. They're in the land of Israel. Some of them are. But they're all over the goddamn world. But the Edomites have control of the Holy Land. Okay? And the Most High gonna get this nigga. He says, just as you rejoice at the devastation of Israel, my own possession. And they did rejoice. They had Jake in slavery, all the things Jake been through. They rejoiced. They made parodies, they make jokes, they got stories, they got, relics, right? Pictures, all that, gift cards. I mean, they are excited about Jake's downfall. So when they fall, we're going to rejoice. And we're going to really turn up, okay? It's going to be a party in the kingdom. We're going to be partying, all right? It says, the mountains of Syria, yes, all the land of Edom will be desolate. Then everyone will know that I am the Lord Yahweh. So you go right ahead, Esau, with your Greater Israel project. This is going to get your punk ass destroyed, nigga. Okay? You loser. This is going to get you destroyed, boy. So I encourage you, keep it up. Go and just bomb everybody. Okay, do what you do. In due time, the missiles going to fly, baby. In due time. And that's going to be the end of you devils ruling, bro. So I'm going to close out with that, man. I pray that was edifying. Keep fighting, keep pushing out there, man. Keep praying. Keep working on yourself. Time is short, right? Just keep on enduring, man. Shalom. Shalom, shalom.